Oh, it's so good! Why am I so proud of this? Le Proxinoscope. It's French for Zoetrope. The last time I played with a random art tool, it was the Lucy drawing tool, which led me to their YouTube channel, Ancient Magic Art Tools, which features guides for the Lucy drawing tool, which also happens to be a website that you can buy ancient magic art tools from, which is how I found this. Now I'm gonna review this. I'm gonna muck around with it and make some animation with the Le Proxinoscope. Let's start off by exploring and experimenting with Le Proxinoscope, Le Zoetrope. So let's take one of our little animations here. We've got this little man, and I think he's jumping through a hoop. So let's pop this in here. All right, you ready? Oh, it's ceaseless. It's never ending. What is this ancient magic? Look at that, galloping away. It's cool because you have like custom control over the frame rate, over the speed. Ready? Oh, look at him go! Oh, it's just a bunch of waddly shadow creatures. So I'm gonna make one with you right here, right now. So this one will be pretty useful actually because it's got these support bars and I can use those as a reference to sort of divide my strip up into frames. So I'm gonna end up with 12 frames, hopefully in the right position. In fact, part of me wonders if it's gonna be helpful to actually do like a cross in every frame. The reason I'm doing this is actually because when I animate on the computer, I have this thing called onion skin where I can see the previous frame and I can sort of go back and forth between the frames and draw the next frame based on what the upcoming frame is or what the previous frames were. Obviously with this, I don't have a way to do that. So the way I'm gonna try and get around it is basically have this little almost grid-like system where whatever I draw on one frame will be clearly spatially referenced within that frame on that grid, and then I can hopefully reference that with the rest of my frames. Okay, next, I've got a sketch. Now, whenever I muck around with animations, I muck around with stick figures. That's how I got started in animation. Anyways, I'm gonna do a stick figure dancing. I'm gonna do a stick figure doing the Carlton. So it's like a real full body thing. It's like it's got the hips go with it. The legs go too. I can't do that, I can't do that. No, it's not unusual to be loved by, I got it in my head now. So I'm just gonna stick figure Carlton, and basically we need to go from there to there, and we need to add the bits in the middle that are the Carlton. I feel like it's the swoosh in the hips. Swoosh in the hips. I'm gonna add a motion blur here. I need to try and add some more pop and sass to his pose. I think I've got my loose early frames. Again, this is just my sketch. Not unusual to be loved by the one. Oh, do you know what it looks like? If you watch the dudes on the right, it's like they're catching something and throwing it to the next dude who catches it and throws it. Let's do that. And let's start our first frame with the ball right up here. See if this works. You ready? Oh my God, it's so good. It's not the Carlton in the slightest, but that's where we started and this is where we end up. I'm gonna take my time making a whole bunch of 12 frame animations and see how interesting and cool they can get. When I animate and I sink my teeth into it and I want to do a good job and take my time with it, that's when I like to zone out, which is why I like to listen to music or audiobooks. Now, Audible, who have sponsored this video, is my go-to source for audiobooks. My current favorite, one on time management. So this audiobook by David Allen is narrated by the author and it's called Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. I have never had a problem with productivity. I'm a very productive person, but the more I've taken on, and especially with 2020 being what 2020 is, it's come with a lot of stress and it's been a really helpful way for me to sort of help shape my workflow and mindset. That's just one of the ways that I use Audible. And Audible has just started launching a new perk to Audible members, where in addition to getting 1 credit a month with your membership, which you can use on an audiobook of your choosing, members also get access to the new Plus catalog, which features thousands of select audiobooks, podcasts, Audible originals, guided fitness and meditation programs, sleep tracks for better rest, and loads more. And you can get started today by going to audible.com/Jazza or text Jazza to 500-500 and get your first free audiobook and access to the all-new Plus catalog. Links in the description, and I'll put a bunch of my book recommendations in there for you to get started with. And speaking of getting started, it is time to really sink my teeth into this. I have many directions I want to go in. I don't know where to start, but I'm just gonna start and see where it takes us. So I'm starting simple and getting more crazy with each little animation, starting off with what I plan to be a roller coaster. I sketched out the hills of the roller coaster frame and then a little ball to test the motion, with the aim to have an ease in and an ease out in the motion. After my sketch was roughed in, I gave it a quick run in the animation wheel and I was pretty happy with the motion, so I got stuck into solidifying my cartoon. I drew the cart with a bit of a stretch at the bottom of the hill, and then with the line work done, I went through and coloured the whole thing in. So let's test out our final roller coaster. Look at that! Look at it go! Ah, how cool is that? So moving on, we're gonna amp up our ambitions, and I'm feeling I should crack out some of the fancy moves. Next, I thought I'd try and animate a moonwalk. I start off with stick figure legs and feet and test that out, because you see, to animate an effective moonwalk, I'd need the position of the feet in the right place and really signify clear leg movement to make it look like a moonwalk and not just a walk. And it was really unclear from my sketchy animation, so I thought it might almost be right, but if I accentuated the silhouette and my motion, it might be more clear and effective. So I did that by intensifying the movement, giving more emphasis to the shoes, the knees, and the juicy little tushy. When colouring my little animation in, I made the back leg and shoe darker than the front leg and shoe, once again hoping this would make the motion between the legs as clear as possible and make my animation dance. This one I am less confident in because, well, this moonwalk, my moonwalk, I have complete confidence in. It's harder on carpet, that's my excuse. Well, let's see how this one goes. It just looks like it's walking. If I pan the camera, no, he's just walking. It's a good walk cycle, yay! All right, look, my fancy dances weren't all that fancy, but I am best at characters. Most of the animation I'm most proud of is character animation. It's the stuff I most enjoy, so I'm gonna do a few characters. All right, time to have some fun. Some of the most satisfying animation motions are head turns. So I animated a head eternally rotating and thought it would be fun to theme around the undead, reminiscent of that classic head turn scene from The Exorcist. I made a simple sphere rotation sketch on a neck and shoulders that didn't move and tested that out. Off to a good start, I thought, so I just got stuck into putting in all the facial features. Animating the head effectively is all about nailing the key frames. So front, and then a few of the 3/4 angles, a few frames apart, and then from there filling in the blanks with in-betweens, which, like I've said, is normally much easier when drawn with an onion skin feature digitally, obviously, but in this case, my sphere sketch with its eyeline position was just enough to get me through this process. Also, those initial grid lines were pretty helpful too. Last but not least, colour, and this is where the illustrations really come together. And just like when I've animated digitally, I run through one colour at a time, going through every frame from start to finish with that one colour, and then moving on to the next. It's a bit faster and more efficient this way, but it's also just way more satisfying and approachable. Partially because every frame becomes more polished at the same time, and it all feels really approachable and easy to focus on one small thing 12 times repeatedly, rather than approaching it fully colouring in 12 individual illustrations one at a time, which honestly feels overwhelming and is slower because then you have to switch all the colours as you go and remember where all the colours go and went in the previous frames. Here is the final zombie. Let's Give him a look. Oh my God, I'm excited for this one. I mean, already, even just like a slow little turn through, the head looks really solid, like it's a three-dimensional object turning. And it can go either way, but I feel because of the direction of the twist, I think it needs to turn this way. There you go. Yes! Oh, that works so well. I feel like I need sound effects. Can we have sound effects in post?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, come on guys, that is so satisfying. All right, one more, and this time I want to go as dramatic in my motion as possible. I want to get really physical, really visceral, and if there's anything I really enjoy doing when I'm animating, it's getting violent.
For my piece de resistance, I thought I'd get a little gruesome and animate a character smashing their head violently against a table repeatedly, giving a lot to play with physically, but also some extra fun with blood and extra chaos. And to make it even more fun, I thought I'd animate my avatar. Now, I was gonna make some kind of reference at this point into I'm animating it because sometimes animation can feel like smashing your head against the table sometimes or whatever, but honestly, this would be lying. I was having so much fun doing all of these. And the truth is, it's most fun for me as an animator when it's simple and effective and violent or physically intense in some way. Like that time I animated Bob Ross twerk. Short, effective, and motion-driven animations can be some of the most satisfying things that you can make as an animator. All right, last but not least, laid in the color, and just like before, one color at a time, the real fun for me was getting to the blood. It was honestly one of the most fun things about when I used to do stick figure animation. The trails of blood and splats are just so damn satisfying, especially if you do them right, because they're a reaction to the intense motion, and then they sort of take on emotion all of their own, this sort of subtlety and slow dissipation, where in combination with the main animation they're supplementing, the whole thing becomes really dynamic and fun. And let's be honest, there's probably a caveman part of my brain that's just satisfied by meaningless violence. Animation's magic, isn't it?
If anything was going to be a grand finale, this was it. Why am I so excited? What direction do I need to go in? I need to go this way. Oh, this is gonna be good. You're gonna have to add sound effects to this one too. You ready? I know this is gonna be good. I'm like letting the anticipation build a little bit. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Yes! Oh, it's so good! I love it. I also love that the blood drops are like, they slam, like they bounce up when he slams his head. Why am I so proud of this? I love it so much. You got like the little blood drops that are dropping from his mouth. As his head goes down, the blood that sort of trails and then sort of floats in the air. And the best part is, there's a whole row of me just smacking his head against the table in the goriest fashion possible. Sound effects, please. Sound effects. I have problems, don't I? This is genuinely a really cool way for people to explore animation. It is harder than learning in a program, and you actually have to be pretty good at positioning things. That's why I did the whole grid thing. I think the other thing I don't really talk about a lot is I don't just go linear. I focus on the core, the key frames, and then I actually kind of do in-betweens. But as an experiment, this is really fun. And I gotta say, I think I kicked the crap out of the default little animation slips that came with this thing. Let me know in the comments if you agree. If I bought this and this came with it, I'd be like, I want to be an animator. This was really fun. I am so happy with the result of this last one. If you haven't, you gotta subscribe, because there is literally no other channel on YouTube that explores animation and virtual reality and sculpture and miniature painting and toy gimmicks and ambitious art projects like we do here. We're gonna have lots more fun in the future, but if you want to look back at some of the other awesome fun we've had, I'm gonna link over to some videos over there you can check out. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I'll see you later.